Today our topic is analogical arguments. So we will discuss what it is and also defines that how we have do these arguments and its strength and its weaknesses. Before talking about analogical arguments, let's define what is the meaning of analogy and argument. So, as the slide shows that analogy means a comparison between one thing and another, typical for purpose of explanation or clarification. So, if you see the picture, we create analogy between socks and feet and gloves and hands. So, as we know, socks we wear on in our feet, and we wear the gloves on our hands. So, this is kind of analogy we create. So, we have always puzzles. So, we give something, and then if we create the third one, and you have the seed, you can find out that what will be the outcome of the next argument. As we already know the meaning, the definition of argument is a group of two or more than two statement propositions that expects and infers. So, we next is our that what is the analogical arguments are. Analogical arguments are that argument by analogy. So, in an argument by analogy, a conclusion is claimed to depend on analogy, a comparison or similarity between two or more than two things or situation or incident. So, analogical reasoning is any type of thinking that relies upon an analogy. Analogical argument is an explicit representation of a form of analogical reasoning that cites accepted similarities between two systems to support the conclusion that some further similarities exist. So, in this argument, we create some in a case or in a in situation we create some similarities in the two situations or two incidents or two occurrences, and by comparing them, and then by this comparison and this proving of these similarities, we argue that there should be more similarities, and that we try to do the argument. This kind of arguments called analogical arguments. Analogical reasoning is one of the most fundamental tools used in creating an argument. It can be analyzed as a type of inductive argument. It is a matter of probability based on experience, and it can be quite persuasive. So it is kind of inductive arguments, and it based on the probability that if there are similarities between two things, then there is a probability that there could be more similarity among those things. So by that we are trying to do the argument. And analogical reasoning involves drawing an inference on the basis of similarities between two or more things, like I told you. So when we create that, okay, this things and this thing is this thing similarities, this thing and this thing has this kind of similarities, so there might be more similarities we can infer from those similarities. Analogical argument is analyzed by revealing the general framework of the argument. So we try to make a framework, like I give you the example that we compare two situations, then we reveal the similarities, and then predict or argue that there must be more similarities. The argument lists that characteristics that two or more things have in common, and concludes that things being compared probably have some other characteristics in common, like I explained to you, that if these some things are common among between these two situations, that there might be more similarity in those two situations. Usually these kind of arguments are put forward by the lawyers in the courts when they are giving some example of some cases which are similar, and then they say because these cases have similarity, so you give the decision, judge has give the decision on that case like this, so you have to use the same argument, same proposition or same similarity to give the decision about this case as well. If an analogical argument is strong, then it raises the probability that the conclusion is true. So if the argument is analogical arguments is true, it means that you have right kind of similarities and they are proved. So then it is probability, it raises the possibility that what argument you are doing must be true. Example, there is one example of analogical argument is humans can move about, solve mathematical equation, win chess games and feel pain. So, and then androids are like humans in that they can move about, solve equations and win chess games. Thus, it is probable that androids can feel pain as well. So what we are doing, we are comparing human being with androids, so and giving some similarities between human and androids, and then giving a calculation that since all other similarities they have, this means they as men human being feel the pain, these androids probably feel the pain as well. As what is android is a robot or other artificial being designed to resemble a human and often made from flesh-like material. So we create some similarities between human beings and androids, and then try to see that if human beings and androids have same kind of similarities like moving, mathematical equation winning chess, so they might feel pain as well. So this is one of the example for the analogical argument. After defining the analogical arguments and giving one example, let's appraising the analogical arguments. Let's assess the value of these kind of arguments. Some analogical arguments are much more cogent, it means clear, logical and convincing than others. So although no argument by analogy can be deductively valid, and in the inference of particular stands from General Das. Some such arguments yield conclusion they are very probably true, whereas others are very weak indeed. So, some since it is not deductively valid, so what we do that we see that if there is some, like we already explained, if they have more similarity in two situations, that it and they are and those similarities are logically concluded, so there is a probability that the argument you are doing is very true or stronger, and whereas it could be that it must be not very strong if the similarities are not very logically inducted. So logical arguments are evaluated as better or worse depending on the degree of probability with which, relying on the premises they put forward, and their conclusion may be affirmed or supported. So like I explained to you, its strength of the analogical arguments depend on the premises, that how the premises have been put forward. So if those premises are right or valid, then there is a higher probability that your analogical argument is valid or strong. Otherwise it is weak. In the next part of the lecture, we will be we will give some criteria for having a analogical arguments by giving an example that one by one we will describe this thing, that what kind of criteria is to be there to have a analogical argument valid or true. So here are like 6 criterion for all the analogical arguments upon which we test our argument that it is strong or it is weak. So to appraise the strength of argument, all the analogical arguments upon these 6 criteria. Number 1 is the identity, a thing which with the distinct and independent existence. That's called identity. Then variety of instance in the premises, an example of single example or single occurrence of something. Number of similar aspects, that how many number of factors are similar in among two different situations. Then relevance, how they are related, and then disanalogies, how much is dissimilarities, and then claim the Kerckelian. So we go one by one in our next part of the lecture. So number of entities, larger the number of entities, that is cases in our past experience, the stronger is the argument. So having the example of shoes, for example, we take example of shoes. If I have repeatedly purchased shoes just like those, I may reasonably suppose that the next pair will be as good as the ones worn earlier. So for example, I'm buying same kind of shoes again and again, and I feel comfortable, and then I will go and buy the same shoes again, so thinking that the next pair of shoes I'm buying will be as comfortable as I had bought before. So if I have bought many times, the more time and more time I feel comfortable, my argument of buying next of the same brand or same size or same style will be more is stronger. So several experiences of the same kind with an item of just that sort will support the Kerckelian. That is, the purchase will be satisfying much more than will a single instant. If I bought one time, then maybe is not very strong. My argument is that next will be as comfortable as my previous one. But if I buy many times, I am more assured that the next one will be more comfortable. Each instant may be thought of as additional entity, and the number of entities is the first criterion in evaluating a logical argument. For example, if someone is behaving same with you every time, so you can 10 times you have same kind of situation and someone behaves same thing, and you can predict that when same kind of situation will arise, the person will be going to behave same. So this is called number of entities. More number of entities, and our analogical argument is more stronger. The next one is the variety of instances in the premises. So the more dissimilar the instances mentioned only in the premises of analogical argument, the stronger is the argument. Like in the previous criteria, we have the number of experiences. This is experiences in different situations. So for example, if we carry on same example, if my previous purchase of those good shoes had been from different stores or different outlets, maybe from departmental store or specialty store, and I had bought from different cities, and I have bought, I went to shop and I bought it, and I bought on mail order. So in all this is the variety of premises, variety of things, variety of the way I bought the shoes, and variety of the ways the things happen. But the result is, if result is same, then it may be I may be confident that it is the shoes themselves and not their seller that accounts for my satisfaction. So it's not that I'm buying from a particular shop and that because that shopkeeper is my friend, so he's giving me good thing. But if I bought same thing from different places to different channels and the result is same, that I will be more confident and my argument will be stronger. So variety is another thing. First was the number of, and then second is the variety. Then the next criteria is the number of similar respects. That with respect of that similarity, how many similarities they have. Greater the number of respects in which the identity is in Kerckelian is similar to the identities in the premises, the more probable is that Kerckelian. So if we have more similarities, it means we have more similarities. We can increase our similarities. So if we have like 10 similarities in two situations, we can predict that the 11th similarity will be there too. But if we have maybe a couple of similarities, maybe we are not so confident that the next the things will be similar. So greater the number of respect in which the entity is in the calculation is similar to entities in the premises, the more probable is the calculation. So there is a more probability that if there is a more similarities, it is a higher probability that the next thing will be similar. Example, among the instances in the premises, there may have been various similarity. Perhaps the shoes were of the same style, had the same price, were made from the same sort of leather, and also for all the instances in the calculation. So increase the probability that instance is the calculation will have the further attribute at which the argument is aimed, giving greater satisfaction. So if the number of attributes are similar of two products, so maybe the next will have a greater or a stronger argument that we can have, that have also the satisfaction in buying those kind of shoes. So for example, we go and we buy things. Why we are buying brands? Because we know that this is made by same things, same style. They have same price. They have same kind of material they use. So it will be easier for us to buy the next of their products because we think that their products are similar. And if our previous experience is that they were good, so next will be good. Next is relevance of instances. One attribute is relevant to another when it is connected to that other, when there is some kind of causal relationship between them. So this is called relevance of instances. So respect add to the force of argument when they are relevant. For example, as important as the number of respect shared is the kind of respect in which the instances in the premises are like the instances in the calculation. If the new pair of the shoes like the previous pair is purchased on Tuesday, that is a likeliness that we have no bearing on satisfaction they give. But if the new pair like all the previous pair had same manufacturer, that will count heavily. So what factor, we actually, this is the weightage we are giving to instances, that occurrences. So it is not that when you buy on Tuesday you buy good thing. No, it is not like that. It is the goods you are buying that is more important. It is not the time, or it is not the day you are buying or day you are doing things. So maybe they have some, people have some relevance, like maybe they are superstitious, but in a logical sense it has no logic, or no, their argument is not valid. So since I'm buying Tuesday, so anything I buy on Tuesday will be good. No, it is not like that. It is the things you are buying. If it's the same manufacturer, same pair, same brand, that is more important relevance. So it is the importance of relevance of that instance which counts more as compared to which don't have any logical relevance. Disanalogies in the instances. So a disanalogy is a point of difference, a respect in which the case we are reasoning about in our calculation is distinguishable from the case on which the argument is based on, or in analogical argument a point of difference that case cited in the premises and the case. For example, going back to our original example of buying shoes, if the pair we plan to buy looks like those we have owned earlier, but in fact much cheaper and made by a different company, those disanalogies will give us reason to doubt the satisfaction they will provide. So disanalogies weaken analogical argument. Like I told you, disanalogies mean that the dissimilarities which are not similar. For example, in the shoes, the price is different, dissimilar, and the manufacturer are different. So it will create a doubt in our mind that those shoes maybe not as good as we bought the previously. Why? Because they have some dissimilarities in the instances. So that the disanalogies, like more analogies, make stronger arguments, our analogical arguments. Same way, disanalogies weaken our analogical argument. They are therefore commonly implied in attacking an analogical argument. So when I already gave you example of in the court. So when one side lawyer is trying to create to emphasis on the similarities to prove his case, the opponent lawyer always try to create or find out or trying to get the dissimilarities to that to dislodge the argument of the other lawyer. So as critics, we may try to show that case in the Herculean is different in important ways from the earliest case, and that what was true for them is not likely true for the present case. So like I told you, we tried one side tried to emphasize on the similarities to prove his analogical arguments. On the other side, we try to find out the dissimilarities or disanalogies to say that these two cases are different. So I hope you understand what is the disanalogies in the instances. Example, there is one example of analogical argument is humans can move about, solve mathematical equation, win chess games and feel pain. So, and then androids are like humans in that they can move about, solve equations and win chess games. Thus, it is probable that androids can feel pain as well. So what we are doing, we are comparing human being with androids. So and giving some similarities between human and androids, and then giving a calculation that since all other similarities they have, this means they as men human being feel the pain, these androids probably feel the pain as well. As what is android is a robot or other artificial being designed to resemble a human and often made from flesh-like material. So we create some similarities between human beings and androids, and then try to see that if human beings and androids have same kind of similarities like moving, mathematical equation winning chess, so they might feel pain as well. So this is one of the example for the analogical argument. There is another example of modesty of the claim or the boldness of the claim. So if my friend gets 30 miles to the gallon from his new car, I may infer that were I to acquire a car of the same make and model, I would get at least 20 miles to the gallon. That calculation is modest and therefore very probable. So it means that okay, if he's getting 30 and I'm getting 20, so I'm not claiming too much, But if I say I will buy the car only if it's go 29 miles per gallon, that is like I'm claiming a bolder thing, that I'm claiming very close to what he is saying. For that reason we need a better evidence, more evidence. I should go and check that car myself is going 30 miles or not. But if I'm agree to have 20 miles, then there's a much difference between 30 and 20, so my claim is just the modest. But if I say 29, that is very close to 30, so that means that I am claiming very bold. So this is another example of the claim that the Kerkelian makes. Though bolder the claim, we need better evidence, and if it's a modest claim, we need not much stronger premises. So if we want to make our analogical arguments strong, we have to reduce our claim. Like in the previous example, instead of 30 we said 20, so we make our analogical argument stronger because we reduce our claim. So an analogical argument is strengthened by reducing the claim made on the basis of premises affirmed, or by retaining the claim unchanged while supporting it with additional or more powerful premises. So we can by reducing our claim, we can accept the premises already affirmed. But if we want to retain the claim unchanged, so we need additional or more powerful evidence or premises. Likewise, an analogical argument is weakened if its Kerkelian is made bolder while its premises remain the same or unchanged, and if the claim remains the unchanged while the evidence in support is found to be exhibit greater uh, fidelity. So, like if we want to have a bolder claim on the same premises, that weakened our argument, or vice versa. So this was some of the criterions of checking or testing or evaluating or appraising our analytical analogical arguments. So we should see that how the number of instances, variety of instances, the dissimilarities, the claim we are doing. So these all things affect on the strength or the weakness of our analogical arguments. So this was the lecture for today. I hope you understand. If you have any question, please let me know, and I will be glad to answer all your questions. Thank you for your time and attention.